Hello everybody, are you ready for day 2 of the Boyfriend Cardigan Sew Along? So I'm going to give a few minutes for people to join in. So it's Tuesday. I'm really loving the fabrics that you guys have posted in the day 1 post. So pretty, so cool. I love seeing all the different things that people are going to be using. If you have any questions about anything you did yesterday, cutting out or adjusting the pattern for your shape, just post them below in the comments and we'll go over them while we're going through this. Jen's here again. Hi Jen. So loved doing yesterday's video. It was so fun. It was a lot easier than I anticipated, so thank you for making it that way. Today in true sew along form, I am wearing a boyfriend cardigan. It's oversized on me at this point, so hi Suzanne. And so that's why I wanted to do a sew along. I needed to make more. So I have all my pieces. My pattern, remember yesterday I said one of my tips was to clip the pattern pieces to the fabrics after you cut them out. Mine's no longer attached because I cut 2 more cardigans out this morning. So I ended up cutting, let me grab them. Okay. While we're waiting, we'll chat. So I cut the pretty peach and I ended up doing the original long length and a hood with this one. So I'm excited to sew up a really lightweight cardigan. I know I'll get a lot of use out of this summer. And then this gorgeous premium sweater knit from Sly Fox. I did some altering. I took the shawl collar and made it a regular band. So now my collar piece is basically, it's just 2 rectangles. You can get them apart here. Yeah, there they are. So it's just a rectangle. I went with 5 inches across, and then when I finish the band, we fold it in half. So I'll end up with a 2-inch band going around. See this part right here? Let's see. Let that focus. So this part will end up being 2 inches all the way across. And I did that because, one, I already have a chunky cardigan that's gray and white with the shawl collar, and I wanted one, it's heavier weight. It's really heavy. It's heavier weight than this, but I wanted one without the shawl collar. So so that's why I altered that. But let me grab the pattern piece for you. It's really easy to do. Like I said yesterday, I just took the pattern piece, used it for the length, so the length didn't change, and then the whole piece is 5 inches wide. So it'll end up about 2 inches wide when it's sewn, but you know, after you take wasting allowances and all that stuff, it varies. Okay, Julie, you're having trouble hearing me. Oh no. This fabric is from Joann's. Yeah, I'm a little bit farther away from the camera than I was yesterday to have room for the table and all that, so I'll try to project my voice more. But this is from Joann's. It was on sale last week. I don't remember how long their knits are on sale for, but you know, they always have coupons. So really lightweight. I don't know if I got to talking to the gal that does my cutting and she mismeasured, which she's really good, so I really don't think she did, or if this fabric shrinks a lot. So my receipt says 2 yards, but I pre-washed it, and when I was cutting this morning I found out that it was really short, and it is down to 1 yard 25 inches. So I know somebody else had this fabric too. If they hear this and they want to chime in on whether they had a lot of shrinkage on it, I'm going up to the store today, so I'm going to talk to her and ask her what their policy is on that, because I'm not really sure. But I still have the salvage the complete salvage edge from it. But yeah, if you do pick this up, buy some extra, because just in case it was a shrinking issue. But it's really soft, and I think it's definitely worth it. And it was a really good price. So there we go. Sorry, I'm getting notifications on my phone. So that's that. All right, and then this was from Slybox. So this is their premium sweater knit that's super nice. It's heavier weight, but it's still pretty. It's kind of a loose weave. You can see through it. So but yeah, and then today I'm going to be sewing up the brushed sweater knit from Slybox. So got several people joining in. See, all of my stuff is too big. This is a brushed poly La Belladonna with my V-neck hack that I did on the Love Notions blog, and I need another one. It's too big. So all right, so the first step, we're going to take our pocket piece and fold it to the right side 1 inch. So what that does is that allows us to get a really nice clean fold at the top. Now you can finish, let me get where I can see you, or where you guys can see me and you're not talking to my neck. You can finish the raw edge excuse me, of your sweater knit. I tend not to, and I don't, because I found that a lot of ready-wear sweater knits are not finished. They just leave the raw edge. The sweater knit tends to curl into the seam, away from the seam, whatever, and it's softer than a serged edge. I haven't had anything fall apart yet. See, this is a Hachi. I still need to learn to say that. And it's not finished. It's just pressed. I pressed the seam open. So, and this has gotten a ton of use. So I don't finish my seams for sweater knits. Like I said, you can use serger, you can use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine or a cover stitch on your sewing machine, whatever works for you. So, all right, so fold this over 1 inch and hem gauge for accuracy. And there we go. And then we're going to straight stitch where the seam allowance is from the top down. I need a chair with wheels. That would be so much nicer. So, ooh, there's a needle under there. Now, your sewing machine needle, you may need to change it out depending on the type of knit that you're using. If you're using something with a lot of lycra or spandex in it, Elastine I think is another brand, you may need to switch out to a ballpoint needle or a sharp or something like that. Probably people prefer a ballpoint needle for sewing. Actually, I have a ballpoint needle in right now, so for sewing your sweater knits, it's a pretty loose weave. A universal needle is just going to jab through the weave, and you risk breaking some of the threads, and that can cause runs and holes and stuff. So go with the ballpoint needle, and then we're just going to straight stitch. I'm using a regular construction stitch on both sides of that. So there's one side, and then because my sweater knit tends to pull, I do go from the top on both directions. So I flipped it over. And I didn't back stitch at the end because that stitch gets secured when you attach this to the pocket. So there you go. Now you're going to take it and flip it right side out. And then you see you have a nice clean seam at the top. So now we're going to walk over to the ironing board and press all 3 sides in 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try to move this. I don't know. Where's the ironing board? There it is. You'll get to see my backside while I iron. So watch the temperature of your iron. Make sure you have it set to an appropriate temp so you don't melt your sweater knit. Also, while you're there, press the top of your pocket. So don't drag your iron, just set it down and press. You don't want to push your fabric around and stretch it out. So there we go. And then I like to let it cool. After I press it, there we go. And that just lets the seam form. Good. I know you had issue with the pocket yesterday, Jen. That works for you. I know it's not, it cannot be intuitive to do it that way, but it does make a nice finish. So let me see, that's the inside. It's going to be beautiful. And then we're going to do it to the next pocket really quick here. So just doing the same thing, fold it down to the right side. Maybe like you're hemming it to the right side. Holy cow. Sorry, I'm a perfectionist, so I want that seam to be nice and even across the top. Sewing within the sleeve at the seam allowance, 3/8 of an inch. Just sewing that top. And again, flip it right side out. And just use your finger, your thumb, whatever, to push those corners out nicely. Just like that. Alrighty, we're going to go for a walk and press this again. Press the sides and the bottoms in to the wrong side, 3/8 of an inch. Okay, just press, press, press. Pressing while you sew is your friend. It will make your garments look so much nicer, and it's easier to sew. Like, pressing keeps the fabric where it belongs, so it's not shifting quite so much all over the place on you. So there we go. 2 pockets. Alrighty. So now we're going to place these on the front of the cardigan and get some stuff out of my way. I moved my sewing machine over to my cutting table because otherwise I don't have a good way to get my camera angled for you guys to see. So okay, there we go. All right, so remember yesterday I used safety pins to mark my pocket, and so I marked it on the wrong side, but I can still see where the safety pins go through. So you just take the top corners of your pocket piece and line them up with those marks. And while I love my clips, there are time and place for pins, and this is it. You can't clip a pocket in place, unfortunately. So so you'll notice that the markings for the pocket placement are more narrow than the pocket itself, and it's because it's a, I don't remember the term for this, droop pocket, bunchy pocket, I don't know. It creates this cute little drop that see the pocket kind of droops open. I don't know. It's a cute little design feature. So pin those in place like that, and then just make sure that everything's laid out straight. The sides are nice and straight, and then pin, pin, pin. So there was a question yesterday, I think it was yesterday in the group, the day before, again, my days run together, about how to make your pockets look nice and professional. Pins, lots of pins. There is a proper way to pin. You want your pins to go perpendicular to your seam that you're sewing. So that keeps your fabric from shifting. If you put them in parallel, like, okay, this is pinned in place. Well, let me do one more. I'm gonna do a couple more, and then I want to repin the top because I pin the top differently. I find that it keeps it from shifting around so much. Okay, so you want your pins to go perpendicular to the seam, not parallel with the seam, and that's because your fabric will still shift a little bit if your needle is parallel to the seam. If it's perpendicular, it stays in place better. So now that I've got the pocket all pinned, see, lots of pins, I'm going to sew it on with a straight stitch. Now I like to do a longer straight stitch when I'm doing any top stitching. It looks nicer, it pulls less, causes the fabric to shift less. If you're still not confident with just pinning, there's this fusible, what is it called? Fusible bonding web is the technical name. The brand name of this one is Stitch Witchery. And you just iron this on in place, and it holds your fabrics in place. It's lightweight. I believe it comes in different widths. I don't use it too much. I occasionally, but really I don't use it too much. I hardly ever pin anything except for pockets, really. So, but this is good too if you want a little bit more security. It's lightweight, doesn't add any bulk. So, when I sew on a pocket, I don't start at the very top. Let me get this on. Hi, Caroline. Okay, so I don't start at that top crease of the pocket. I start 1/4 of an inch below it. And again, that's because the pocket can shift towards you while you're sewing. So I start below it. And after I get the presser foot in place, I lost my bowl. I remove my one needle that was parallel, and I put that one there to keep the seams or the sides of the pocket straight as I was pinning it in place. My perpendicular one is still there. And lengthen my stitch, and then I sew a few stitches. And now, okay, see, it's shifting already. I'm going to back stitch a few. And then when I back stitch, I go to that top seam of the pocket. And then I lift my needle and I turn, make sure that pocket, the top of the pocket is straight, and now I go, something sounds funny. Oh, I still have those safety pins under there. Oh no, don't do that. See, the advantage of live video, you guys can see me make mistakes. Okay. See? I stitched it in place. Okay. I gotta find my seam ripper just a second. Oh, it's over here. It would have been a good idea to have that out, huh? If you're ever gonna mess up, it's gonna be when you're live. Okay. Seam ripper. Okay. There we go. Hopefully. Oh, got it in another place too. Okay. If you have to seam rip, just be really careful so you don't snag your sweater. There. That does not belong. All right, round 2. So I did get a couple stitches in there to keep that in place, though, at least. So, all right, like I was saying, I then go across the top of the pocket. Hey, look, it goes better now. 3-4 stitches, and then turn and pivot and go back to where I started my back stitching. So what this does is it forms a nice little triangle at the top of the pocket and keeps it secure so it doesn't pull free. Yeah, it's true. We all mess up. Sure, definitely. Sorry, I lost my foot pedal. Alrighty, now I'm just going to go down the side of the pocket. Holy cow, I haven't used this before. It's kind of shifting a little bit on me. I like to keep the seam of the pocket lined up with inside curve of the presser foot. You know, the part of the presser foot where the needle goes into. I keep lifting my presser foot because my fabric is dragging, even though the tension pressure of my presser foot is not turned up very high, it's still dragging my fabric. If I was smart, I would put on a walking foot right now, but I'm kind of stubborn and I don't like putting on the walking foot. It's, I don't know. But a walking foot is a great thing to use with knits. I hardly ever use it. Okay, and we're just pivoting at the corners. And one more side. Okay. We're almost to the beginning. I've got a little thread sticking out I'm going to tuck in from when I top. You know what I did? I did not top stitch across the top of my pocket, you guys. Alright, so you know, I'll probably, you know, we can top stitch it. What in the world? Hi, welcome to day 2. The edition that Kelly shows you, she is not perfect. And that's okay, because it doesn't matter. Nobody is. So I'm making my triangle again. So, alright, a couple more stitches. Went across the top of the triangle, and now I'm going back down the side seam. And then lock those stitches. Okay. Alright, so, and I read through the instructions too before I started. I'm like, oh, I got this. Thought about printing them out to have right here. Now I got this. I've done this a million times. Alrighty. Hussein. Oh, that's why you love your plaque. I don't know how to say the name of that machine. Okay, so there's my pocket attached without the top stitching. So okay, so there's my pocket. I'm gonna turn this gently right side, like inside out at the top. I'm totally gonna throw in a couple pins first. I'm gonna top stitch this puppy now. Okay, just move. Yeah. Okay. Where's that at? 1 inch. Right there. Okay, let's see what happens. The stitches blend really well with this fabric, so I really just need to secure it well enough so it doesn't flop through. It's not like the stitches are decorative. And then you can see that one. You can't see the other pocket stitches, but you can see that one. Okay. Ta-da! Pocket. Hi, Jennifer. It's what? It's Pfaff. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I learned something. Okay, so there is one pocket. Now, let's do pocket 2 properly. Let's top stitch across the top of the pocket before we attach it. All right. So, let's just go real quick. Across the top. So it's, we folded it down 1 inch, so if you sew right inside the 1 inch seam allowance, you should be good. Or, you know, the guide on your machine. Look at that. We top stitched. Alright, so now, where's my other front? My other front. We're going to take those safety pins out this time. How about that? Okay, and line it up again. And then pin in place. So, and if you guys missed it yesterday, I did download the video from yesterday and link to it on the blog so that it's there forever and ever. But also, if you're inside the groups, if you're on a desktop, laptop, whatever, computer, a real computer, not a mobile device, on the left sidebar, there's links to things inside the group, and one of them's a videos link, and it's really easy to find the videos that you're looking for right there. So it's also archived there if you want to go back and review anything from cutting. Another pin. Okay. Just a few more pins to put in place. There we go. Alright. What are you? Oh, that's my pocket piece. Or that's my front piece with my pocket attached. Okay. Safety pins. Nobody warned me. Nobody spoke up and said, hey Kelly, don't forget the safety pins. Okay. There we go. Boom. Alright, again, starting about 1/4 inch below. Go forward. And then back stitch all the way to the top of the pocket. Pivot, sew a few inches across the top. Not a few inches, few stitches. And then pivot and angle it back down to where you started your back stitching. Make a cute little triangle in the corner. And then away we go. I almost hit a needle. After we get both of these pockets attached, I'm going to jump back over to the iron and give them a quick pressing. There's a little bit of waviness happening, but I'm confident it's going to go away after I press. To the third side. Pivot. Guess what's empty? Alright, I have another one. But I know I'm going to have to stop and fill that other one, but we're gonna take our chances. Because I didn't have another empty bobbin. Okay. So when that happens in the middle of the seam, I just go back about 3/4 of an inch and sew directly on the seam to lock those other stitches in place. I didn't backstitch there. My machine backstitches automatically, but if yours does not, you will want to backstitch when you restart your seam. Knock on wood, I have yet to have anything come apart by doing that technique. Just clipping my threads so they don't get tangled up. Okay. Pivot. Holy cow. I didn't drink as much coffee this morning before starting, so I'm going to go with that excuse for why I'm off my game. Always more coffee, right? I did have Girl Scout cookies for breakfast though, so maybe that's it. Too much sugar for breakfast and not enough caffeine. We can go with that, right? Sounds logical. Okay. Alright, Jen, what you got to say? I'd like to see adding the elastics to the shoulders. Yes, 3, well, do you have clear elastic? Because you don't want the regular white chunky elastic, but yes, I'm going to go over that. Thank you. I forgot to pull it out, so I'm glad that you mentioned it. I didn't even put it on my list. Okay, pocket 2. Alright, we're going to press these. Hello, Lauren. I'm glad you joined us. Okay. I didn't bring you with me this time, but I'm just pressing these seams really quickly so that they are not wavy and wonky. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. And then I'm going to go over and grab that elastic that Jen was asking about. Okay. So this is the type of elastic that I use when I stabilize. Oh, you need to order it. How big is this? Might be, yeah, 3/8 is fine. So you can do this. You can also just use like a strip of cotton lycra, or because it's more stable. Or just a lightweight strip of woven fabric. It doesn't have to be elastic. Elastic just gives it more stretch, obviously. So, but let's see. Let's get this. We have to do the back seam now, and then we'll get to the shoulder seams. But I got it out, so I'll remember. So, one of the advantages of cutting your fabrics out with right sides together is that it's already lined up for you when you go to sew it. So we're not going to sew down that back seam. I'm checking my bobbin thread. Yeah, I'm good. For a second there it looked like I didn't have quite as much as I thought I did, but it's good. Alright, so now again with 3/8 inch seam allowance, we're just going to go all the way down this back. I like to have the needle dropped when I stop and shift. Drifting. Okay. There we go. Okay. Easy as pie. Yes, my machine did come with this fancy extendable table. I know you can order them a lot, like off of Amazon for different machines and everything. They're usually about $100. It's an acrylic bed extension, I think is the technical term for it. I love it. Worth every penny. Could you sew the back seam with the serger? Yes, you can sew this with the serger. I don't finish my sweater knit raw edges because it's bulkier, and a lot of ready wear that they don't finish them. So after this is washed a couple times, that's just gonna curl and hide the seam, and it's super soft and super easy to wear, take care of. If you have a lighter weight, like an open weave, like my pink one, I am probably going to do 2 rows of stitching down those, and you want your stitches close together so that the fabric doesn't fray. But I have yet to have it happen, knock on wood. I'm going to say that a lot today. Okay, you can't, Elizabeth, I do. Yep, see, and a lot of people do. I'm really sensitive, so I like to make my clothes soft. If I'm doing most things, I do finish my seams with the serger, but not with my sweater knits. So there we go. That's done. Now, see, I mean, if you look, it looks nice. It doesn't look unfinished inside or anything. And then I pre-washed this, and I've been fiddling with it. I'm confident that's not going to fray away to the seam allowance, so I'm going to leave it as is. If this was any other type of fabric, I would press this open, but it's falling open pretty naturally on its own. You can see down here where I did the double stitch, it's not going to press open as well, but that's okay. So now the back is done, and now we're going to lay the back right side up. You know, I'm going to move this for a second. Excuse me. Alright, so the back is right side up. Now you're going to take one of your front pieces. Make sure you line up the right side and line it up with your shoulder seam. So let's move over a little bit. So you want to make sure that the right side of the front is against the right side of the back, and that you have the side seams lined up and the center piece in the middle. Okay, see, yeah, Jen quilts a lot. It is really nice for quilting. I'm not a quilter, I pretend to be, but anytime that you're sewing something that's larger and it has a tendency to pull and drag down, that bed extension is nice because it gets your project up off your lap, and the machine can do its job of pulling the fabric through easily. So, alright, so elastic in the shoulder seams. So you lay out your pieces just like you're going to sew them normally. And then, see, I'm not going to add it because it bothers me, it itches. So you just take your elastic, lay it on top of your seam, and then sew. You sew it in place. That's it. If I'm doing that wrong, somebody speak up. I confess I am completely 100% self-taught. So, but yeah, you just lay it on top of the seam and sew it in place, and then what that does is it stabilizes the seam, keeps it from stretching out. The cardigan already has a drop shoulder seam, and you don't want that to stretch out more. I'm not worried about it. I am pinning because of the way my day is going. I don't need something else to mess up because I chose not to pin. So, bed extension table again. Pop that in place. Now we're going to sew the first shoulder seam. Totally right. Yay! 5 points for me. Okay. Alright, so put this in place. Something else I should mention, when you're using the sweater knits, don't start at the very edge of the fabric. It's really lightweight, especially, and it can get shoved down into the throat bed of the machine, and Oh, I gotta shorten my stitch. I didn't shorten my stitch length attaching it back. See? Oh well, it wasn't an incredibly long stitch. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, this seam, it wouldn't matter. You want the proper stitch length for your shoulder seam because this one can pull and tear. See, look how nice. Alrighty, Jen, base stitch it or you stitch it at the same time. You're gonna make me do it, aren't you? So you just, okay. Alright, okay. So you just put it on and then drop your presser foot and sew the elastic on top with the same stitch that you construct the shoulder with. Do you understand now? Because I want you to understand. So, Jen's a good friend of mine, so I like to harass her. But I know she does the same to me, so that's okay. Okay, do you get it, Jen? I know there's a delay. Yes! Yay! Okay. If you get to that point and you don't, just comment later when you sew it or message me. Okay, so now I'm laying out the other shoulder seam. Make sure everything's lined up properly. Line up my shoulder seams. Pin, because it is that type of a morning. Normally I will pin like twice to set in each sleeve and that will be it. Today I'm going to pin. Okay. That's perfect. Alright. Shoulders. Okay. And just like that, we have shoulder seams. Okay. Yes, you can use ribbon, you can use bias tape, you can use all sorts of stuff to stabilize that seam. Okay. Ta-da! 2 shoulders. Okay. Ooh, I love this. Alrighty, let's do the sleeves. And then that's going to be the last thing that we do today. Again, you can press that open or press it to the back. If you serge, press your seam to the back. I'm just going to finger press it open and call it a day. Because it's sweater knit. If, like, again, if it was any other fabric, I would be ironing more. I iron a lot when I sew. Okay. Alrighty, so you remember when we cut out the pattern, there were some markings, and then I was convinced that there was markings I was missing. I was not missing markings, so I went back and rechecked. So, sleeves. Alright, so we have 2 sleeves, and you're gonna, remember we had the double triangles and the single triangles. So the single triangle lines up with the shoulder seam. That seam's really off. And let me reference the pattern real quick. Sleeve head to shoulder seam and pin in place. Okay. That says that I'm right. Alrighty, so we're gonna line up. Make sure. Let me grab my pattern piece. Yep, see? That's why I double check. I pinned these wrong yesterday. So I have, or you know what? I had a pin fall off. I bet that's what I did. I'm going to double check the other one too. Okay. I had it pinned wrong. So, okay. Now I have the wrong sleeve piece. This is another reason why I keep my pattern pieces out the whole time, because I do like to reference them as I'm going along. Alrighty, so, yep, I marked the double one wrong on both of them. So that's my double. Okay, there we go. Now that I've corrected that, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yep, okay. So now, the arm side of the cardigan is laid out, and right sides together match the single notch with the shoulder seam. Hey, look how much better that lines up. Single notch with the shoulder seam, and then line up the two double notch markings, and then clip the ends together. And that is our shoulder seam, or our arm size seam. And so now we're just going to ease the rest together. Okay, I have enough bobbin thread. I'm going to watch that. If you want to pin more, pin more. Pin to your comfort level. And now just assemble, sew along this seam allowance. Just readjusting my fabric so I don't stitch through something I don't mean to, because I've done that. I think probably everybody has, where you're going along and you sew the body into the shoulder seam, or something happens that you don't intend to. There we go. One sleeve is attached. I like that. Let's see. Ta-da! Alrighty, sleeve number 2. Okay, again, lay it out so that your arm side is opened up, and if you did not finish your shoulder seams, press that seam open. If you did serge that seam, press it to the back. There we go. And now that I know my sleeve piece is correct, got my sleeve, checking comments. So again, single triangle to the center, or to the shoulder seam, and then line up the doubles. I don't need to there. And then clip the ends together, and then just ease the rest together. As you go. There you go. That's all there is to sewing a flat sleeve. You just, with a more traditional sleeve that sits on your shoulder properly, your curves go opposite each other more, but because this is a drop sleeve, we don't have that drastic difference, because the shape of the sleeve cap and arm side is really different than the sleeve that sits on top of the shoulder. fidget with that a little bit. Alright, so are you guys excited for the Presto tunic to come out? So my eye itches, I'm sorry. The final tester photos are coming in and they are so good. They're so pretty. It's such an easy shirt to wear. It's like you can wear it and treat it just like a t-shirt, but you look so much more put together. And like, so 90% of my day I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, or a t-shirt and joggers or whatever. But on like days like today where I have to run my kid to the orthodontist and grocery store and all that stuff, I have just snuffed Bob and thread. I like to try to be a little bit more put together because a lot of people, like, more people know what I do, and so I kind of feel like I have to reflect that more, I guess. So but there you go, another sleeve. But yeah, totally in real life I did not look this put together if I am just sitting at home sewing. So, and look, I won the bobbin game. Look at that, folks. Can you see it? It's really bright. Oh, the sun's coming in. Well, take my word for it. There's not very much left. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so I refill it. That's all that was left. So that's it. We have our shoulders in, or our shoulders assembled, our sleeves are put in, our pockets, the back piece. Assembly goes really quickly at this point. Hey Tammy, you tried to take your pictures of the final. Oh, it's hard to take pictures of your own. Man, if I wasn't babysitting tomorrow morning, I would totally just drive up there and take pictures for you, because that is so fun. I love doing that. So, but yeah, tomorrow we're going to assemble the side seams, and we'll do this vent. Where'd that go? The vent at the bottom, that cool thing. It's super easy, a lot of fun. It makes a really nice finish, and then we're going to hem the bottom and hem the sleeves. So that's our agenda for tomorrow. So make sure I got everything. I think I went over everything. Yeah, it would be nice. It's fun. So it's really cool. I only live like, what, 2.5, if that, hours south of Tammy. So it's cool. So you guys have any questions about today? Anything that I need to touch base on at all? You're like, oh, I need to know how to do this. I know there's a delay, so then I stare awkwardly at the camera waiting. So, alrighty, well, I'm going to take that as a no, that you guys know what you're doing. And if you come across any questions, just post them in the comments. I'm going to work this afternoon to get the blog post of these steps together and posted and archive this video. And then I will get the graphic for day 2 posted. So go ahead and share your progress on the day 2 graphic. Let us know that you're joining in with us. We love it. If you're totally behind and planning on catching up over the weekend, just post that. So we just like to know that you guys are joining in. When the pattern shows an option for no collar, shawl, or hood, do you do it without either or add the band? Okay, you can do either. So, and I'll go over hemming the front on Thursday, I think, is when we're doing the collar and band and everything. But you basically, you just fold over the front and hem it. So, that's an option, or you can do the little band like I did. But yeah, you can definitely just hem the front. I know, if I remember correctly, Tammy did do one just hemming the front in testing. So I'll look and see if I can find the photos in the tester photos and see if I can find those to show the representation of that. If I'm really, really good, maybe I'll get mine sewn up that I intend to do that finish on. So, but we'll go over more of that on Thursday. So, awesome. Yes, I did remember correctly. Tammy's going to try to find the pictures of her hemmed front cardigan. So, awesome, guys. This was a lot of fun, and I will see you tomorrow for the side seams and the vents and hemming and all that fun. So, awesome. Have a good day. Bye.